I go in July or August. I don't remember. But when we went to Louisville, Kentucky, and went to Heaven Hill, which is Elijah Craig, and we picked out that barrel pick, I hope that it lands at Briarwood Wine and Spirits, hopefully this week. Those barrel picks go fast, but I may be a little biased. I thought we did a great job in picking that Elijah Craig barrel pick. But anyway, the small batch is $30-something bucks. It's award-winning, great value. And, of course, if you want to take a step up, the toasted barrel and the 18-year are fabulous. And we'll let you know as soon as that hits Briarwood Wine and Spirits, 4949 Old Canton Road, located right behind Hickory Pit, which is one of the iconic restaurants in Jackson that I've been going to for 40 years. So, and that pulled pork sandwich is still amazing. Anytime a sandwich makes you pull over in a parking lot, and that's what I do every time. I mean, I get it and I say I'm going to wait, and then I pull over right across the street where Radio Shack and Blockbuster used to be, and I eat the pulled pork sandwich in the parking lot.
Get it while it's hot.
I mean, it's just like ridiculous.
It melts in your mouth. Yeah,
it does.
Good.
It does. But Briarwood Wine and Spirits will let you know about their barrel pick from Elijah Craig. I thought it would hit mid-November, but things happen, and we still got some time before. Is it officially Christmas holidays?
I got Christmas pants on, so yeah.
I saw those this morning that you're wearing pajamas.
You can call it what you want.
Well, they are pajamas.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sweatsuit, yeah, for sure.
Is it a sweatsuit?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Good.
I got
the
whole thing.
You always revert back to wanting to be an AAU coach
every time
and a third-party flesh peddler.
It was one of my goals as a kid, honestly.
Yeah, you want to drive the next shooting guard to wherever he goes, and you want to get a $100,000 to $200,000 kickback after he gets $2 million.
I vividly remember the day that I first saw it, and when I was like, "Yep, that's what I want to do." It was at MRA.
You know, we had Sonny Vaccaro on the show years ago, a couple of times, and he was, kind of one of the first leaders coming out of the shoe game and the AAU thing, and so on. Of course, he's featured in the Nike movie on Phil Knight, Jordan deciding between Adidas and Puma and Nike, and was there one more? Converse. Maybe Puma was out. I can't remember. But anyway, can you imagine all the deals that went through him?
Sonny?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he was teamed up with Phil Knight by like 1984. Holy Mary Olzat.
Still up and running. Sonny Vaccaro is still.
How old is he now?
86.
Golly. You know, he's part of that mafia. I got to interview him and Jerry Tarkanian. And I mean, those two guys are mob guys. I mean, college basketball. By the way, I say this, tip of the cap. College basketball mobsters. I mean, just boom.
Oh, he was
still kicking myself for when I went out to Las Vegas in 2003. And no, I wasn't in sports talk radio. This was May of 2003 when I went out there the weekend of the Kentucky Derby, the week of and the weekend of the Kentucky Derby. But I didn't start sports talk radio until October. Wow. And that's why I didn't piece that together to go call Tark the Shark.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But we eventually had him on the show. But look, if you want to read a great book over the holidays, read the book Running Rebel on Tark the Shark. If you want old school Las Vegas mafia mob Sinatra and how Tark the Shark built an absolute powerhouse out in the middle of the desert. I mean, because that place was crappy. It really didn't hit its stride until around 2001, 2, 3, when it really started to get really, really nice play. You know, it had to go through all these iterations and all these different shed the stuff. And but Tark went there in like the mid 70s from Long Beach, and nothing was out there. Just a tumbleweed town.
Yeah, I mean, just
a little bit of gambling, you know. And now it's like the place,
the Mecca.
Yeah, but you would never read it, but you could audiobook it since you drive a lot.
Could do that.
Yeah. It's incredible. Have you ever listened to an audiobook?
I have not. I don't know. I know I'd rather read it, I think.
Well, yeah, but you don't read either.
Yeah, so there we go.
All right, so you've never listened to an audiobook.
No, I've never once in my life. No, I don't know why I would have. Maybe, no, I have no idea. There's no way. No, no. I was going to say maybe a Harry Potter book because I liked those when I was a kid.
That would be cool.
What?
I loved Harry Potter.
Oh my God.
Big time. But
yeah, Harry Potter at Universal's. I don't know a lot about it. Never watch. I don't watch that kind of stuff, but my daughter loves it, and I think my son watched it too, just because of age and time.
For sure.
But I do remember going to Universal on a torn meniscus,
Nice.
and thinking, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of some of the pieces of the puzzle, but I don't know a lot about it. Just to be honest with you.
I just know they sold billions.
Oh,
J.K. Rowling, that woman made money.
It's it as far as branding and merch and everything, it was absolutely brilliant. Was that through Pixar? And then wrapped into Disney, or I don't even know. Yeah. Okay. The Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. I just couldn't remember the timing of when Steve Jobs sold Pixar, right? Yeah. To Disney for like $7.5 billion 23 years ago or something. And then what all they took. I mean, but they've obviously done a good job. Twitter X at Bowbounds. And we're going with Stella Artois now for a week or two. The bottle is red and green. It's Christmas colors. It's great beer. But Stella Artois caller line is 601-707-3750. Do you have something for me, Jackson?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to look up the
Pixar deal.
Yeah. You don't have to. I'm fine with it. Squirrel says, how many bottles do you get out of a barrel?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay, the yield, it fluctuates as far as how many cases. I would have to ask Nathan at Briarwood Wine and Spirits, but I want to say it's usually around 30 to 35 cases, I think. I think that's right. And I'll have to text him during the break as far as, and look, I think it's a pretty, you don't ever know with the yield. You don't ever know with the barrel, but maybe up to 40 cases. I'll have to check that out.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a lot. How many is it?
Well, it's 6 bottles in a case.
A bourbon barrel pick typically yields 150 to 200 bottles.
Okay. Well, I was right there.
Yep.
Well, I may have gone a little high, but my 30 to 35 was okay. My 40 may be a little too high.
Yeah.
So maybe not 240 bottles, but somewhere you're saying in the 150 to 200 bottles?
200 typically.
Okay.
Low end is about 60.
Oh.
I'd like to know why.
All right.
How?
Damn.
Hey, a standard barrel is 53 gallons. That's 200 liters of liquid.
Mr. DX is on the Golden Moon Casino text line. Bo, I talked to Juice. He was at the meeting. And he said Bayou Lane is a liar. You're talking about Juice Kiffin, which was an imaginary.
No, it's Pete's new dog.
Oh, is it Golding's new dog?
I mean, should it not be?
I don't know.
I mean, don't you have to pass it down? Now where's the dog go?
That's a good question.
I need to know.
I guess.
No. Is it the athletic department's dog? Like, I mean, are they adopting this dog?
I think Patrick Kelly should adopt the dog.
PK, I mean,
he at least needs to know what's going on.
Well, but he's already got a dog, Deuce.
Oh, that's
Deuce.
true.
That's at his store, Finch and Kelly, every day, and he's a great dog.
Good dog.
I mean, he's beautiful, and he's one of the sweetest dogs ever. He's a lab or a golden retriever.
Good break.
I got to check with him. All right, see you. Hey, good morning to you. Giving away a Tito's swag bag. Jump in on the Out of Bounds roll call. That's how you enter, and you could win. Kind of a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays deal. We'll do 3 of them. And Tito's always has some of the best swag. How do you enter to win? On the Golden Moon Casino text line, we'd like to hear from you. 3 things. Are you listening on 105.9 The Zone or streaming the show? Where are you listening from? And who made the best hire outside of the best hires, Lane Kiffin to LSU? Mine is John Summerall to Florida. There's risk in every hire, but, man, there's a lot of risk in Alex Golesh to Auburn and Ryan Silverfield to Memphis. And even more risk with Pete Golding to Ole Miss. Hell, Will Stein to Kentucky. There's enormous risk there. I think you feel pretty good about James Franklin at Virginia Tech because of his track record. And maybe he was able to learn. I mean, as many things as he did well, you know, what he didn't do well, which is kind of what all these, not all, but so many of them just can't find the offensive coordinator that's good enough to move the football. That's why Lane's so valuable and some of these other guys that they just move it wherever they go. And while defense, I understand running the football and stopping the run still wins and always will, and especially this time of year, whether it's college football in the playoffs or the NFL, because I know it gets pretty in August and September and October, and we like for it to look pretty and throw it around and all that. But for the most part, year in, year out, it's running the football and stopping the run. Now, I understand that running the football opens up
That's right.
what you want to do in your passing game, but we don't evidently have the thing up. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. So the 3 questions are you listening on 105.9 The Zone or streaming the show? Where are you listening from? And who made the best hire outside of Lane to Baton Rouge?
Just trying to find some recruits.
I will say this. Give me a few minutes. I'll get into Lebby. As far as Durkin signing on with Auburn, you thought you may have a chance to lift him. Lebby and Durkin worked together at Ole Miss under Lane. You need that kind of hire. Bad. You'd love to go get Brad White, but I have not been able to see if Will Stein is going to retain Brad White at Kentucky. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in America. The only reason why they even had a pulse the last few years because they couldn't get a first down. The only reason why the Kentucky Wildcats in football had a pulse the last several years is Brad White was such a damn good defensive coordinator. And there's plenty of other guys. There's G5 guys and so on. So, look, after signing day, and I know signing day today doesn't mean as much, but Mississippi State is excited about Braylon Womack out of Hartfield. We'll see what happens with some of the other guys. Womack's actually a guy that could get on the field day one. But for all these teams, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Auburn, and so on, you know, it's still going to be the portal too.
Brad White is going to be coaching next year alongside John Summerall.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, he's heading to Florida? It's already done?
Yeah.
What?
That's mean. Dude, they're about to be nasty.
Dude, y'all need to get ready.
DC at Florida.
John hired him when he was at Kentucky.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. And then John left to take the Troy job. Okay. And he's been in the conference championship game 4 years in a row.
He's only been head coach?
For 4 years.
That's correct.
So 2 years at Troy, 2 years at Tulane.
4.
He'll play this Friday night as a coach, as a head coach in another conference championship game.
For the 4th year in a row.
All right. Now let me go to Lane and then I'll go to Lebby. I think the detox from Lane in Oxford and in the state, Jackson, too, you know, wherever we've got Ole Miss and Mississippi State fans everywhere. And people like to stream the show, and we love you for downloading the Out of Bounds radio app and streaming the show or hitting thezone1059.com. I think the detox is going to be something like way more than, you know, Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
And Lane, because of, you know, his persona, his personality, the way that he embraced social media. He was good looking. These were all things that Ole Miss really liked about him.
Yeah.
Again, Lane looks like the guy that lives on 30A in his parents' second home.
Yeah.
Okay, frat brat, but Lane grew up and is talented and is a top 5 college football, top 6, 7 college football coach in America. He just went 11-1 at Ole Miss.
Yeah, like that.
Say
happened.
that out loud.
11-1. 11-1.
Right. He just went 11-1 at Ole Miss. And they're going to host a college football playoff game, which will be the biggest game in the history of the state of Mississippi. I think the detox is going to be gruesome, brutal, and extremely difficult because he was the guy.
It's everything.
Yeah. He drove everything at Ole Miss, university-wise, town-wise, sports, everything.
Business. Everything.
And no one has ever won like him. And I think the detox is going to be tough. One thing I'll give Ole Miss is they decided that they were serious. Everything they've done the last several years is everything they do is about winning football games.
Right. It's intentional. They have a purpose.
And if you're an SEC school, that needs to be the focus. How can we win football games? And I'm talking about conference games.
Yeah, right.
Both at home and away. Lane did both. Now, his home record was insane. So basically, Ole Miss fans, all they know is winning the last 3 seasons.
Correct.
I think his only loss we went through yesterday was Kentucky at home last year. They just won and won and won and won. I think this detox will be the most brutal detox in the history of the state of Mississippi, and here's why. Again, his status and image of a good-looking guy, the snarky Twitter, the making fun of, taking shots at people nonstop, and winning.
Yeah.
And he made everybody feel good. And when you win, you feel great. There is nothing like it in this area. I talk about it all the time. In this footprint, it's about winning SEC football games. And
everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
And so when people were asking me, hey, how do you think this is going to look? Oh, I think it's going to be rough.
Yeah,
now, if Ole Miss pulls a G5 team, then obviously Pete and Charlie Weiss, who has signed on to make the run in the college football playoff, Pete and Charlie Weiss Jr., not Big Charlie Weiss.
Big Charlie.
Big Chuck. Pete and Charlie Weiss Jr., no doubt have a chance to win because Ole Miss is so talented. Now, I do want you to understand, Lane was really checked out and dominated Mississippi State last Friday. They could have done more in the second half had they wanted to, but if you watched him on the sideline, he knew that whenever he wanted to get something done, he could. One thing about Lane, even though he doesn't have that many personal relationships with his staff or with his players, is he sets the tone early.
Yeah.
I'm hiring you, Jackson. Do your job,
right,
or I will fire you. Now, I've been in a conference room with Dan Mullen when he said the same thing to a position coach. Yeah. Either handle your room or I'll handle it for you and you'll be relieved of your duties. Yeah. That's from the Urban Meyer for Dan and from Pete Carroll and Nick Saban for Lane Kiffin. No. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Tom Luganville at 9:30 today. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
We have a saying around our place, we eat off the floor. And if you're willing to eat off the floor, you can be special.
John Summerall, evidently, Jackson is willing to eat off the floor. He just hired Brad White as his defensive coordinator at Florida. Goodness gracious. Florida's back in the football business. We're going to see what happens with some of these other, like Jeff Levy's going to have to make some changes. So, you're told they're going to be after signing day, today's signing day. And I know that's weird. It's just not, God, my first, how many years, 18 or so years on the show, people would freak out on signing day. And, it drove the buzz from Gulfport to Corinth on that day. And at all breakfast, lunch, afternoon beers, and, neighborhood get-togethers at night. Signing day. How many Mississippi kids did you get? Who'd you get from out of state? How many JUCO guys did you get to fill in? How many are 3 stars? How many are 4 stars? And who's the sleepers and who's the best player? And oh man,
it's a day of partying.
Yeah, and now it's just it's still important because every player and asset. I mean, if you're going to sign 10, you want to hit on some. If you're going to sign 15, you may not sign 27 like you did. I'm looking at some schools are still signing full. I mean, the Georgias and Ohio States are not going to stop signing classes because they can do what they want. Southern Cal's got 34 commits.
Jeez.
So they're trying to do a little bit of both. Bama's got 24 commits. There's talk they're about to get another one. Notre Dame's got 27. Ohio State's got 28. Granted, 19 of them are 4 stars. Georgia has 29 commitments. 22 of them are 4 stars.
Jeez.
So these are guys who can play. We talked about Georgia playing 7, 8 freshmen this year, and several starting. But the question is, if you're gonna knock down 15, 20, 25 signees, you still want quality. You still want value. You still want guys. We have started to say, well, nobody will hang around. That's extreme. There are players that will sign with Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Auburn and play there for several years.
Right.
Okay. And then there's some that are not. I know if I could, whether I'm playing football, basketball, or baseball, if I could, I would want to stay because the way to get plugged into an alumni base is to stay somewhere for 3 or 4 years because I meet Jackson and Wes and so-and-so and so-and-so, and I meet all these people over all these years. Plus, I can say I have a degree and people actually know me from Ole Miss or Mississippi State or Auburn. The guys that are going to play at 4 schools in 4 years or 3 schools in 4 years or 3 school in 5 or 4 and 5, I'm not saying it can't work out for them, but for those that aren't going to go to the NFL,
that's
NBA, which is the overwhelming majority of them are not, then the question goes, one, could you hop around long enough to still get your degree?
Right.
Because that's a tough thing. As you hopped around, did you still knock out your 120 hours or whatever it is now today? I think that's right. Because it while some of it is outdated, that degree, I still have people that reach out to me and they're like, hey, if you know of anyone that makes sense for this job, let me know. They have to have a college degree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's right, wrong, or I'm just telling you it is what it is.
Right.
And so as we look at National Signing Day today, you've still got, look, Ole Miss is sitting there at 17 commits. You still want value. You still want quality. You still want to knock down some dudes that can play. Mississippi State's at 27 commitments, and they want the same.
What about Florida?
Yeah, where's
Florida
at? Florida is 16th.
I bet you could have asked all those 16 who the head coach is. They have no idea. They're still signing to Florida.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that there are some schools that can do that. Florida is ranked 16th, and they have 13 4 stars out of 18 commitments. So even with all their losing,
wow,
they still get players. Plus, you saw all the guys that are talking about staying, and they had some good football players. Don't forget, for half the game against Ole Miss a couple of weeks ago, when they were in absolute and total shambles, they led half the time. They still have players.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's trying to get this thing turned around. 38 commits for North Carolina.
Look at him. Grinding.
And so we'll see how that goes. Now, who's number one? Kind of got a new number one in the 247 sports rankings, and it's Southern Cal.
Oh, okay.
And Southern Cal, I mentioned, has 30. Sometimes it's numbers, sometimes it's not. They have 34 commits.
Wow.
Bama's number 2 in the rankings. Notre Dame's number 3. Oregon's number 4. Ohio State's number 5.
10 years ago,
LSU, with all their, firing Brian Kelly, just bringing in Lane on Sunday.
Right.
This goes to show you about brand, power, flex, resources. LSU's 12th. 16 commits, 2 5-stars, 13 4-stars.
They had a coach.
That is
3 months.
filthy.
That's crazy.
So, and you'll see a lot of these players, believe it or not, stay.
Yeah.
We've gone overboard that 95% of players leave. And, then you got to kind of break that out. The overwhelming majority of the time they leave because they can't play.
Right.
And then there is that group that leaves because they're so damn good at Southeast Louisiana or Troy or somewhere, or Tennessee State.
Right.
And then they go to Missouri.
Yeah.
Or Florida, which is cool.
That's part of attrition.
Anything else that jumps out at me here? Georgia's actually kind of lower this year. I mean, they're 6th. They're not bad.
Well, I mean, they also had one heck of a class last year, right?
They did. They're 6th. They got 29 commits, 22 4-stars, one
Where's
5-star.
Auburn at?
Where are they finding all these 4-stars?
I don't know. They're somewhere in here. So, what were you saying about 4-star?
Where are they finding all the freaking 4-stars at? I mean, they're just.
Well, let me give you an example. Southern Cal has 24 stars committed.
Out of
Notre Dame has 19 4-stars. Ohio State has 19 4-stars. Georgia has 22 4-stars. A&M has 22 4-stars. Miami has 19 4-stars.
How many are left?
There's a bunch of them, evidently. I mean, you could argue maybe kind of like giving A's, and you read the Wall Street Journal article. We've never given more A's in junior high and high school, and so on. So maybe I understand that there's more players and better players today, and better high school programs, and better weight rooms, and better tutelage, and resources, and recovery, and all that.
So,
but and maybe this is in line. I can't remember year to year with how many 4-stars there really are around the country. You're saying?
I'm saying we should have been in the business of handing out stars.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We should have been.
It's the same guys as you and I.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
That are with 247 and Rivals and and on 3.
And same. I mean,
it's just dudes. It's dudes in warm-ups in a room looking at film.
That's it.
Yeah. May or may not.
Kind of looking at film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
eating Doritos, ordering subs to go.
Yeah.
And as the day unfolds, sometimes kicking it with some Michelob Ultras as you're looking at film.
I mean, that, and
But I mean, it's not like it's a rigorous training ground to evaluate for 247 or on 3 or Rivals.
No, the hardest part is maneuvering, how much money you're going to take for what star.
Because anybody can go to a high school football game and watch A.J. Brown and Jeffrey Simmons and give them a 5. And then I think most anybody can rate a high 4. And then after that, I think it can get murky and gray and difficult as far as what are your eyes, how good are you as far as your eyes and evaluating. Michigan's, somebody asked about Michigan on the Golden Moon Casino text line. Michigan's 11th. They have 27 commits, 13 4-stars, 2 5-stars for the University of Michigan. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're driven by your next GMC Sierra truck, GMC Yukon. FowlerGMC.com, FOWLER. Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon. Hit their website right now. Find your truck or SUV, pre-owned or new, FowlerGMC.com. And when you're talking to that salesman, make sure to tell them that you heard about it on the Out of Bounds show with Bo Bounds. FowlerGMC.com. Do we have Steve? Steve, kind enough to join us. His site's on fire. GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. Steve Robertson joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Steve, it's still an important day, but my house National Signing Day has changed since 5, 10, 15 years ago for the two of us.
Yeah, you're right. It's still a very important day, and really it's just kind of the relief of the end of this phase of the process, because there's been so much of a priority placed on the portal. And a lot of that too is not just immediate impact, but, fan interest. I mean, as you know, a lot of people not quite as engaged with high school recruiting, because it's like, hey, I don't know if this guy's going to be here in 2 years, but I know that this portal player is expected to be on the field this fall. And so we've seen a bit of a shift of interest, but it's still exciting. And, Mississippi State going to be adding some additional players today too that haven't formally committed just yet. So.
All right, Braylon Womack committed a couple of days ago, the 5-star out of Hartfield. He had been committed to Auburn. Walk me through this, Steve, on Braylon Womack, and also kind of what kind of player he is and what can Mississippi State fans expect?
Well, he's a guy, I would say in some respects, he's a more physical version of Jonathan Banks. And what I mean by that is he has the ball skills and the football IQ to get on the field very early in his career. This is not a guy that's going to need 2 or 3 years in a college weight room or watching film to be able to get out there and make plays. I think that he is a guy that could be in the mix as early as next year. He is an extremely talented player. At one point, he was rated the number 1 safety in the country, and it's a laundry list of offers. This is a huge get for Mississippi State, and it's so interesting too. There was a time State really just couldn't get in the game with him. And the thing that I have said many times to people, it's easy to be committed to a school in April, right? And we're seeing some of that kind of come to fruition right now on National Signing Day. And all of a sudden, you get down to the reality of things. You get through your football season, you get that as a distraction. You look up in December and you're like, oh, I'm committed to a school 7 hours from home. I don't know if I want to do that, and Braylon, I think, was a guy that was probably always going to stay in the Southeast, but credit Jeff Levy and really credit Braylon Womack too for kind of keeping an open mind about things. And, we expect him to stick. It'll be a surprise if he doesn't, but this is a guy we're really excited about.
Okay. So, it's not official, and until it's official, you don't ever know who else could come in. Is that where you are?
Yeah, I mean, Auburn obviously could try to come back. I mean, he's been committed to them much of the process.
Sure.
And, Texas A&M hosted him on an official visit. And I was told shortly after that happened that was a little bit too far from home. But, I don't think Braylon's the kind of guy that's limited no matter where he goes. I think he is an NFL talent, and I think that's going to show no matter which football field that he calls home.
All right. Walk me through who else. Nickerson?
Yeah, Micah Nickerson out of South Pike. Yeah, we absolutely expect him to flip back to Mississippi State. It was one of those deals in the beginning. It was kind of a surprise when he flipped to Missouri, and I had a lot of skepticism and told people, this one isn't over. And a lot of people say that, but Mom, extended family are all down there in Summit, Mississippi. He's a product of South Pike High School. I think it's just a matter of time before Mississippi State releases him as an official signee. I've had some conversations with my counterpart in Columbia, Missouri, and that's the expectation they have as well, is that Micah Nickerson will flip back to Mississippi State here on National Signing Day.
All right. When it all shakes out, how many guys do you think Jeff Levy will sign today?
Maybe 29 or 30. We'll see how it goes. I'm also expecting wide receiver Kemion Henderson Jr. out of Carthage, Texas. That's not official yet, but based on the indications that we're getting right now from some people close to him, we do expect him, former Arkansas commitment that opened things up after Sam Pittman was fired. And it just seems like Jeff Levy and Chad Bumpus always do this. Like every year with them, there's always this late receiver they pick up. I mean, 2 years ago, it was Ricky Johnson. Last year, it was Isaiah Mitchell. I mean, there's always – it seems like they're never satisfied with the number of receivers. and they keep grinding to the very end of the process. It looks like for the third straight year, the state's going to add an out-of-state receiver on National Signing Day of some real merit.
Steve Robertson, his board site is on fire, genespage.com, 247 Sports. All right, can you give me another player or two that you're pretty damn fired up about in the class?
I think, I don't know that, and Caleb Morris was just announced as a signee. I don't think that Caleb Morris, that whole recruitment is kind of flown under the radar because, he committed so early in the process. But this is a guy that, after he committed to Mississippi State, got offers from both Auburn and Alabama, but yet he's going to sign with Mississippi State. And I think the coaching change at Auburn had a little something to do with it. But the reality of it is, this is a guy from Montgomery, Alabama, that in the beginning, he had a host of like G5 offers, and then State kind of gets in the boat with him, and then his recruitment takes off. And I think that he's a guy that can really help. He's probably 2 years away. Probably needs to get in the college weight room and kind of get that baby fat off of him. But I think this is an underrated recruiting win for Mississippi State that nobody's really talking about. And under normal circumstances, if the nation is more engaged in high school recruiting, I think that's something worthy of headlines.
Okay. All right, Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. Do you think that Mississippi State made a run at Durkin for defensive coordinator?
Oh, I definitely think they inquired. I don't know how down the road they got with him, but yeah, why would you not, right? You absolutely have to. That's a guy that has done a great job at multiple schools, and then he wasn't getting a lot of traction, I guess, as a head coaching candidate, and you got to go out there and throw a line in the water and see if he hits. But I feel absolutely confident, without any question, that Mississippi State kicked the tires with him. But he's staying at Auburn, so you got some other options, and you're working through all that.
And you're working through that too. I know you got to get through the rest of the signees. And somebody asked on the text line, are you concerned about Braylon Womack? Steve?
I'm always a little bit concerned
until
it's official. Yeah, because no matter how well sourced you are, no matter how think you've got it driven down, until it's officially official, anything can happen. And we've been through this before. I was joking with David Murray last night. I think his first signing day, with Stone Tablets and Chisel, and we were kind of recapping some of that stuff. But I go back and I think about the Kenny Ashley thing in the Crum era. Everybody thought Kenny Ashley's fine, and all of a sudden USC gets involved with him late, and the kid's telling Guy Holiday that everything's going to be fine, and then Guy Holiday ends up smashing his phone outside of the Bryan building before a press conference. It's high theater type stuff, and no matter what they say, and no matter what you think, until you see that official release from your respective school, you can never just feel completely okay, right? Am I optimistic this is going to be taken care of? Yeah. But I've been doing this so long, I understand you have to expect the unexpected, and we can all sleep tonight. We just got to work through the day to day, and I think it's an important day for Mississippi State. But yeah, you lose Braylon Womack, it certainly takes a lot of luster off the day.
Okay. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. So you feel like tomorrow and Friday will be buzzing too around the Mississippi State football program, right? Even after signing day.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting week. And there's still some recruits out there that are going to make their decisions later in the week. And I don't know how much of that gives traction to Mississippi State. But, there are some things that we expect to happen, some staff additions and some changes. And, I think right now the focus is National Signing Day. But the news won't end, today. There's going to be news in the weeks ahead. And then, of course, once we get done with, Christmas, we're going to be wide open in the portal. And there'll be a bunch of guys that will announce between now and then. Exit meetings with players are happening now. And so,
right.
There's a lot that happens. Following college football doesn't end at Thanksgiving anymore. It is a year-round thing, and that's a great thing for us. But for fans that love college football, there's never been a greater time to be alive.
I couldn't agree with you more. There is no off season, and I mean that. There's not one. Steve Robertson on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Isaac Smith. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, he's going to have some opportunities. And, I talked to him a few weeks back, and he goes, I'm either going to be at Mississippi State or the NFL. And I don't know how that's going to play out, but I know that there will be some other schools that will contact him, and I feel pretty confident some already have contacted his representation. So that's something, too. Roster retention is a big part of this thing. Coach Levy and those guys are going to have to kind of you don't have in-home visits for high school recruits in December anymore. Well, now you have them for your current players. It's just so crazy how the prospects of all this has changed.
Oh, wow. Kamario Taylor, you still feel good?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Kamario. And one of the things I want to say, and I grew up in this fan base, so I feel like I'm entitled to say it. There are a lot of people that rest their insecurities on the back of the Mississippi State Bulldog athletic programs, right? It's like they think, we're just forecasting failure. Nothing ever good happens to us. That's just not true.
No.
And to be honest with you, and I've said this when I speak, for all of you that have daughters and granddaughters, please ensure that they marry a very positive Mississippi State fan, because we're trying to breed that negativity out of the fan base.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's Ole Miss is glass half full, and Mississippi State is, I need to go extreme to do the analogy, but yeah, no, there's a group that like wakes up and loves to be pessimistic,
Well, we're just happy to have a glass. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's the thing where it kind of goes. And I'm grateful for what we have, but I just don't understand, how you get through life constantly forecasting failure. And I've been in recovery a long time, and one of the things that we talk about, there's two kinds of people in the world: those that think they're going to make it and those that think they won't. The funny thing is they're both right.
Yeah.
You got to have a positive mental attitude about stuff, or you're never going to get anything accomplished. If you constantly forecast failure and impending doom, well, it'll find you.
That's true. All right, I got a minute. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything?
No, I think we talked about Kemion. We talked about, Micah. And, of course, you add Big Cooper Crosby last night. That's a good get.
Okay.
That's a really good get. And he and Jaden Hill will go head-to-head for a 7A state championship this weekend.
Oh, in Starkville, in your town. Okay.
How about that?
All right, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate
See
it.
ya.
MHSAA state championships in Starkville, Mississippi this weekend, Davis Wade Stadium. That's got to be cool for any of the high school guys when they get to do it at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, Davis Wade, or The Rock. We are the Out of Bounds Show, and lunch today is brought to you by Martin's in Livingston and Martin's downtown. Fantastic food, great atmosphere. Grab a buddy and get some lunch today at Martin's in Livingston.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Al Warning.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone, National Signing Day. A little bit different, but still our teams are signing over 20 players. So it's not just, it's still important. Quality. How many can you keep? How many can play early? Whether it's year one or year two. And maybe some of them can stay for 3 or 4 years. We'll see. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app and the zone1059.com. How about Vanderbilt flipping a quarterback from Georgia? Have things changed? Jared Curtis, who, number one quarterback, depending on who you talk to, number one quarterback in the country. Jared Curtis from Nashville committed to Vanderbilt yesterday. He was a commitment to Georgia. I bet Kirby didn't like that phone call, and Mike Bobo, OC at Georgia.
I wonder what that kid. I wonder how smart that kid is. Like, is he an intellectual? Like, does he have a major that's like that? Like, is Vandy a good school? Like, what was the appeal there? Or did they just pluck him?
Well, he goes to Nashville Christian, and Vanderbilt has gone 10-2, and they have had Diego Pavia the last 2 years, and he's been able to see what they did with Diego. Yeah. And when you go 10-2 at Vandy and had a winning season the year before,
right?
And Tim Beck has done a hell of a job. So Clark Lee hired Jerry Kill, really good head coach, and Tim Beck, his OC, and then they got Diego and a few other players, and the rest is history. But he was committed to Georgia and had offers from Alabama and so on.
Yeah.
So I bet that was a tough conversation for Mike Bobo, offensive coordinator at Georgia, to Kirby Smart. Wow. I bet there were some F-bombs and some things thrown in the office or the conference room.
No doubt.
They may need a new video wall in the conference room at Georgia, and that video wall should be powered by Sound and Communications. That's who you call, soundcomav.com. For your next video wall for your lobby, your conference, your school, your hotel lobby, whatever it is. Video walls, sound, and communication. Oh, restaurants are doing video walls, obviously. Left and right. Powered by soundcomav.com. Vandy flips a quarterback if it holds. He may have already signed this morning. I don't put anything past anybody to change their mind. But Vandy to the Shug.
You think Kirby asked Mike Bobo if he was eating off the floor or not? Because clearly he wasn't.
We have a saying around our place, we eat off the floor. And if you're willing to eat off the floor, you can be special.
I'm not sure Bobo's going to be allowed to celebrate Christmas after this. Now, it's a new day. It looks, the optics are like Georgia Vandy, but Vandy just went 10-2. They're a private school. They have just as much money as anybody else. If they have decided, and I said this 2 years ago, if they have decided to get in, then look, when I met their alums when I spent, God help me, 7 days out in Omaha, Nebraska for the College World Series when Mississippi State won it in 2021, and the Vanderbilt guys didn't fly in until the National Championship Series. And so you saw them starting on Sunday, but really Monday was the first game of the championship series. And so when you're in the Marriott in the Hilton and you're watching these guys, walk around, and they were like, when you talked to them, the arrogance was unbelievable because they had already won maybe 2 under Corbin and maybe played for another one, but been several times. And it really, at that point, it kind of slipped since 2021. But at that point, over that 12-year run, they were the best baseball program in America.
Yeah.
And then you look at the MLB players. But the arrogant, I was just sitting there looking at them going, Mississippi State hasn't won a championship, and these blank have. And they were like, oh, no, we're just showing up to win. And we have Leiter and Rocker, and we're going to win. And that's it. Well, my thought process a couple of years later when Clark Lee hired all these people that we're talking about from New Mexico or wherever they were.
Yeah, New Mexico State.
Is that if Vanderbilt ever wants to get in and get after it, they've got plenty of money.
Oh, yeah.
To buy a top 5 class, a top 10 class, or they may have had to give him $3 million over, I don't know, $800,000 a year for X amount of years, whatever it was. They can do that. $1 million a year, $1 million, $2 million. All these SEC schools can do that. But the point is, Vanderbilt never got in, and now they're in.
And their in is a sustainable in, right?
Sure.
Like, I know a lot of these could do it, but they could sustain that year after year. They got plenty of money. Plenty of money.
They do. And I think they now
are going to spend.
Have all of a sudden, they're like, we like winning.
Yeah.
It's fun. We need to get a group of 40 to 50 guys together, and everybody needs to give $100K or $200, whatever it is, so that we can run it up to a bunch of money. Plus, you got rev share that you can use, and so on.
But also, they've been winning in basketball for years.
Well, kinda. They've had some success going back to C.M. Newton and I guess Eddie Fogler and some other guys, but they kind of. Obviously, Stackhouse was a disaster.
Yeah, it was.
I thought for 1 second there he was going to get it rolling.
I did too.
I think 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now they've got another dude that looks like he's got some serious potential as a coach. But yeah, they're look, they can win in hoops in a heartbeat. They can win across the board. They're in Nashville.
Yeah, I was about to say it's Nashville.
It's like what I know. UNLV's not Vanderbilt.
Right.
Because they're not in the SEC. Vegas is still cool. But it's like Dan Mullen told me. Before NIL, you couldn't get kids to come here because you're selling them to come to Vegas to not have any money.
Right.
Now, he was like, Bo, my starting quarterback lives in a condo. He can throw a rock to the Bellagio.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Okay? He takes most of his classes online, and if he wants to go to the Venetian pool or the Bellagio pool or the Wynn pool, he can.
Right, yeah.
And if he wants to go to dinner, whether it's SW Wynn or STK or Sushi Samba or what, he can.
Yeah, maybe comp.
Things have changed. Well, think about Nashville, downtown. Vanderbilt is downtown.
Dude.
It's not, as most of you know, it's not out in the outskirts. And you got NFL football, you got the Predators, you got baseball. We think that's going to happen any day now on a boat for MLB.
For a college kid.
For a college kid, Nashville, Tennessee.
Broadway, man.
You got country music. Well, you got actually, I just pigeonholed them. You got every genre you can think of.
Yeah.
But, and then all the freaking restaurants downtown, everywhere but downtown.
Yeah.
You walk out of Bridgestone Arena, you're at Hall's Chop House.
That's right.
Among many others. Phenomenal places.
Man.
If Vanderbilt wants to do this thing, they can do it.
What better place to have money as a college kid?
Right. Well, some of these areas, no doubt, like Las Vegas and Nashville. Right. It's like if Southern Cal can get this thing going, what better place to have money than Southern Cal and live out in Manhattan Beach as a single dude at 22 years old? Right? Tom Luganbill will join us at 9:30 on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Tom Luganbill, National College Football Analyst with ESPN. You will see him on ESPN today. Will join us at 9:30. All right. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, driven by RPT, Rick's Pro Truck, spraying bedliners and lift kits, RPT Commercial in Pearl, RPT Flowwood, RPT Gluckstadt, Madison County. Trucks live here. Rick's Pro Truck.com. 1059 The Zone, ESPN. South Florida has a new coach. I've always said it. You've heard me say it. If you've been listening to me for 10, 15, 20 years, I've always thought that South Florida job was one hell of a job. And Brian Hartline, Ohio State offensive coordinator, is expected to become the next head coach at South Florida. Y'all been to the Tampa area. You know the growth down there in South Florida. You know the players. And they're one of the G5 programs that has money. And, of course, I just mentioned their location. So it's a big school, big school. And you got good weather and water and players. And when your assets are close to you, and those are players, then that's pretty damn strong. Keep an eye on him. Yeah. He's considered one of the best wide receiver coaches in the country. And OC under Ron Day for what, 1 year? Because Chip Kelly was the OC last year, right? Because they wanted to run Ron Day and Chip Kelly out of Columbus, Ohio last year.
That's right.
When they were embarrassed by Michigan, and then they just ran the table and won the national championship. So
I just realized that's the same Brian Hartline that was the Browns player.
yeah.
Oh man, what a hire! I like that guy. That's good.
So you're all of a sudden now fired up.
I'm might as well give me a bull shirt.
You and Chuck Mullins?
Me and Chuck.
You know what? I'm wearing a pullover from the Rogue Men's store this morning, and it's the first time I've worn it. I like it.
I like it too.
It's kind of a blue-gray camo
Yeah.
or something.
It's almost heather gray. I don't know. I like it. It's
Heather
good.
gray, yeah. Luke said I'd like it, so I went with
Smooth.
it. The Rogue Men's store, they've got all kinds of super cool hoodies and pullovers and jackets and vests. And, of course, they got Martin Dingman shoes and Wolf and Shepherd shoes at the Rogue Men's store, right? In Jackson, in that super cool, iconic building. Back to Brian Hartline.
Yeah, fourth round pick, man.
All right, roll through his resume. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to pull it up.
All right.
And then I'm going to go back to you on Brian. When you go to South Florida, I just think you have an awesome opportunity to win and parlay that into a top 20 or top 25 job. And we've said that for years with South Florida. There's other programs that, and all of a sudden Tulane's serious. I mean, again, private school with money.
Yeah.
Private school with money. And where are they? They're in a great area. And Willie Fritz won, didn't he?
He did.
And then he won his way to Houston,
Sure
which
did.
is now a Power 4 school
Right.
in the Big 12. What did they do this year? Houston won and won and won. Now, they may lose Willie Fritz, but still, Willie Fritz went to Houston and won. He's kind of like Signetti, not quite as big, but he's older. He's in great shape. 65 years old, can still operate at a high level for a while. But Willie Fritz won at Tulane, then went to Houston. Then John Summerall won at Tulane and is now going to Florida. Keep an eye on some of these schools that have all of a sudden decided to get serious. I know these are different levels, but Vanderbilt private, Tulane private. They've got their alums engaged. They've already had the money. When the money's on the sideline, you can't win. When the money's in the arena, and on the field, you can win. What did David Justice or whoever was playing David Justice say to Billy Bean in the movie Moneyball? And so they were asking why they had to pay for their sodas. And the AGM for Billy Bean said, well, we like to put the money on the field. Well, they had the lowest payroll in MLB. It was funny back and forth. All right.
For Christmas, though, I'm getting us some Brian Hartline
Dude,
jerseys.
yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
We may have to call Chuck Mullins.
I mean, these are tight.
Heartline rules.
A Hartline is
That might be
my
my favorite
stud
hire.
now.
You like that?
I like it a lot.
Okay. All right, give me his resume real quick. Just rip through it.
He was obviously he drafted in 09 in Miami. He ended up starting for years in Miami and ended up in Cleveland that last year of his career, towards PCL in Cleveland, which ended it. Pre-draft measurables, he was 6'2", coming in 4.58, 40-yard dash. Boy could go. And look, he had hands, led the Dolphins in tutties multiple years. I didn't know he was this established. I didn't know he was like that. I mean, I remember him.
Where have you been?
Well,
all right, go through the rest of it.
Coaching, Ohio State in 17.
Okay.
He was offensive quality control. I was 18 to 22, wide receivers coach, 23, OC, and wide receiver, 24, co-OC, wide receiver, 25, obviously OC and wide receiver coach. I guess the more impressive list of his is going to be the multiple first-round picks: Garrett Wilson, Emeka Egbuka, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Is that a good list?
Jeez. I mean, I knew it was like that. I remember I knew Ohio State had receivers. I just didn't know they all came from Heartline.
Well,
And
the brand. I mean,
Right.
I want to give him credit.
sure, but
Also,
that
they recruit. Yeah. When you
helps.
put that pullover on, it gets you in any door in the. Again, let me go back. LSU, Georgia, Ohio State.
Yeah.
When you have that pullover on, you can get in with anybody in the portal or anybody high school. Well, it doesn't mean you're going to get everybody, but you can get a meeting, a one-on-one, or a handler or an agent on the phone. It does not matter who they are. You can at least get a conversation, and a lot of times it can even lead more than that, even if you don't get them.
you're automatically in the door.
Right.
Don't even need an appointment, really, to show up.
Right. By the way, yesterday for lunch, I had the Cooper's Philly from Taste Italian Kitchen, so I feel like I'm a better person today.
Well, I mean, you are.
Yeah. Their hot sandwiches are delicious. They spent weeks in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and New York. You know, all the great places there that serve subs and sandwiches, and flying in fresh bread daily. I mean, everything is high quality. Check it out today. Taste Italian Kitchen in the Renaissance. Taste Italian Kitchen in Starkville. And I was lucky enough to be one of the taste testers in June for this menu that you get to partake in for lunch or dinner.
Like that.
Or maybe just lunch. I'll have to check on that. They may be on the dinner menu too. All right, we're live in the Bank Plus studio. Out of bounds, ESPN, 105.9 The Zone. Jackson Meadows has decided that he really likes the Brian Hartline
All in.
hire because he just tied in Brian Hartline with NFL player. And
Oh, man. And he's a Miami guy. I know. Obviously, South Florida's not Miami, but it's close enough.
oh yeah, Tampa and Miami.
It's right beside us. I mean, he was a Dolphin for a decade almost.
Was it that long?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Wow.
That's an extended period of time.
That is.
In the league?
That is.
And
Will you give me his stats again
All right.
from the NFL? Brian Hartline, for our listeners, the new head football coach at South Florida, has been the OC at Ohio State and wide receivers coach. Jackson?
He ends up total career. He ends up playing 104 games, starting 73 of them, 344 receptions, 4,700 yards, almost 48. Average 13.9.
Wow.
That's a big. That's
14 yards per catch?
That's a huge average. And then he ended up with 14 tutties throughout his whole deal.
That is a solid plus
I came
NFL career.
13. He had probably his best year was in 13 when he started 15 out of 16 games, 76 receptions, 1,000+ yards and 4 touchdowns. Yeah,
Damn.
He had a good.
So he's known as the best wide receivers coach in the country.
Yes.
He became the OC when Chip Kelly left to go to the Las Vegas Raiders for this year. Chip just got fired. He and Pete Carroll couldn't quite get on the same page. But just to let you know, Brian Hartline was the OC at Ohio State. Okay? This he is.
Yes.
He is. And
he'll
will
coach.
be throughout the playoffs, but he'll be the head coach for I'm thinking he will.
Yeah.
I think he and Ryan Day will be on the same page. Tom Luganbill has run ESPN recruiting for 20 years. National college football analyst. Tom Luganbill will join us on the Out of Bounds show. We're driven by Total Transportation of Mississippi. They're offering nationwide and regional routes for you. Apply today, totalms.com. All right? Weekly pay, monthly bonuses, totalms.com. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're brought to you by the Gumbo and Shrimp Po' Boy at Martin's in Livingston and Martin's downtown. Fantastic bar and restaurant. Try it today or this week for lunch or dinner. Martin's in Livingston, which is new, and Martin's downtown, which has been there since like 1954. Both iconic. And that's where we did one of the first remotes 22 years ago when we started the show. Now, they've totally renovated the one downtown, and it's fabulous. But we used to go from the stage there 21 years ago, and feels like a couple of weeks ago, and then it feels like an eternity. But anyway, we're live in the Bank Plus studio, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Tom Luginbill joins us. National college football analyst with ESPN, ran ESPN recruiting for 15-plus years. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, and the show is driven by your next GMC Sierra truck at Fowler GMC, Pearl Brandon. National Signing Day is totally different than it was just a few years ago, isn't it, Tom Luginbill?
Oh, I mean, you're not even having the same conversation. It is, I like to affectionately call it rent a player for a year or two day. Because, I mean, in all seriousness, the reality that 60% of these guys will be on the roster that they sign with within 2 years is not very likely.
Right.
And so, you know, it's what it's turned into now is obviously there's so much money involved. Then you got to keep them happy. You got to play them right away. Then if you do and they perform well, then you're going to have to pay them more to keep them. And if they don't play right away or they don't perform well, they're going to leave. So now the established relationship that you've had when you've been recruiting this, you know, player, whoever it may be, from the age of 15, you need to be prepared to be able to circle back on that guy, or 20 guys, or 50 guys, or 100 guys with your staff when he goes through the cycle again. So it's literally just the beginning of, you know, the next 3 to 5 years, and a guess on how many times each individual player is going to go into the portal.
All right. So when you were doing like 12 hours a day on TV for years,
12 hours live for almost 15 straight years.
Wow. All right. Who was the biggest flip during your time as heading up recruiting at ESPN? Like the day of signing day, is there one that like a top 10 or 20 or 50 player that flipped on signing day, probably from one power to another? Well, hell, it may have been Dion doing what he did with Travis Hunter, but that one or another one. Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, I think Travis Hunter was a big one, and it's recent and it comes to mind. But one that made a statement because it was so public. Do you remember offensive tackle Cyrus Quandro?
I don't.
Okay, so he was a kid out of Maryland. He makes his official announcement with us on live TV, and he announces Auburn. He gets off the stage, walks up to his head coach, and says, "I don't want to go to Auburn. I want to go to Alabama."
Oh, I remember that now. Okay.
So he makes the announcement. Auburn's expecting to get the national letter of intent. He gets off the stage, sends his national letter of intent to Alabama, and then Auburn finds out about it publicly.
Oh.
And then he ends up being a 3 or 4 year starter or whatever it was. I think fairly high draft choice.
Right.
But that one was, you know, a fairly big one just because it was just such a big deal. Now, this wasn't necessarily a flip, but Landon Collins at the Under Armour All-American game from Louisiana, sitting there with Dari Noka at halftime. He's got his whole family there. He announces he's going to Alabama, and his mom freaks out. And she wants nothing to do with Alabama. She's all LSU all the way. Like, her body language, her facial expressions were just hilarious. Do you remember running back Alex Collins?
Yes.
Okay, so Alex Collins, he wants to sign with Arkansas. His mom takes his letter of intent steals it from him, gets in her car, and starts running down I-95. I mean, I have stories. You should have never asked me this question.
No, these are great.
Because I have
These are great.
I have the dumbest stories. I have the dumbest stories of the dumbest sagas of all of this stuff. And the reality is, I mean, and this is really the reality of the whole situation. Let's just say if we were kind of looking at it from an old days perspective, you sign 25 guys, okay?
Right.
If you hit on 60% of them or more, like you feel like you've done a pretty good job.
A great
That
job.
means you're going to miss. Yeah, that means you're going to miss on roughly 10 of them.
Yeah.
The question then becomes, which 10 are you missing on?
Yeah.
Are they all the top graded guys in your class? Because if they are, then that middle tier and bottom tier better be damn good, underrated, and develop into great players, right? So we place all of this attention on this, and the probability that a guy is going to pan out is so minuscule, because when you look at the percentages, roughly 7% of anybody that plays high school football will have a chance to play college football on scholarship or non-scholarship at whatever level we have. So NAIA, Division III, Division II, all the way up. Okay, 7%. All right. Of that number, okay, roughly 0.4% will actually play in the National Football League. So we talk about these guys and we look at them on paper and we try to project. The reality is you don't know.
Right.
It is the biggest crapshoot of all time. I mean, you look at the quarterback position alone, trying to be right on those guys is darn near impossible.
And that's what makes somebody like Lane so special. I mean, good Lord. He hit on Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, or somebody in his...
Because he did his homework.
Right.
He did his homework. That's the thing. Somebody saw Ferris State, saw Division II. Well, we don't need to deal with that guy.
Right.
He looked. And so... And I think, the other thing, too, and I have found this not just in my time in professional football before I joined ESPN in 2005, but with a high school athlete, the more you can find out about who the kid is, forget the physical abilities, forget all of that stuff. Like, the more you can find out about his temperament, the more you can find out about his work habit, the more you can find out about his intelligence. And all of these things that I'm mentioning have nothing to do with watching film. Right? Those are the things that you have to really feel convinced about if you're expecting a guy to pan out.
Tom Luganville with ESPN on the Out of Bounds show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Do you remember? I mean, I know you do, but you said 05. I don't know if Tebow was an 06, but do you remember the Tim Tebow?
Because 06 was our very first class.
Got it.
After me and my crew got hired. So that was Mitch Mustaine, Jevin Sneed, Tim Tebow, Matt Stafford. That was just some of the quarterbacks in the class. That was also Percy Harvin's class.
Good grief.
There was some pretty good ones in that class. And then the following year, like the 07 class, I think that was Joe McKnight.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Clausen, and who was the big tall kid that played quarterback in Arkansas?
Matt Jones?
Oh, what was his? No, after Matt Jones.
Matt. Okay.
Played for Bobby. Gosh darn it, big, tall, long.
Mallet.
Played the NFL.
Ryan Mallet.
Yes, Ryan Mallet. He was either 06, 07. I want to say 07.
Okay.
But you start to go through and go back through these classes. 08 was Julio and AJ Green.
Julio and Dre Kirkpatrick in the same class.
Drake Kirkpatrick was 09.
Okay. Julio, all right. So Julio and
08.
Somebody, I ran into him
AJ Green.
Okay. But
those were the 08 receivers.
There was some big, I ran into Julio and somebody else from the state of Alabama the year that they were signing at a restaurant, but I don't remember who the other kid was, but he was a hell of a DB. All right, Tebow, that was crazy, right? Because he was down to Mike Shula at Alabama and Urban Meyer at Florida. Do you remember that, Lukes?
Oh, yeah, I remember the whole thing. he was homeschooled and
School. Yeah.
hadn't really been socialized, if you will, and now he's in the thick of obviously the recruiting washing machine. I actually broadcasted his game that year when they played Hoover at Hoover. That was one of my early broadcasting experiences when we were just getting started. But oh yeah, dude, like I remember that's the thing that's actually been fun over the years is when we had high school matchups on a Thursday or Friday night and they would feature like the highest profile guy in the class.
Yeah.
We'd get them on air each and every week and still do it to some degree. It's just not as easy to do now. And, but yeah, oh yeah, dude. I mean, you're talking about, I mean, if I went through our database and just like clicked, all right, 2000, in fact, while I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm going to do it. Let's see how many evaluated players that we would have. 47,000 players in 20 years.
Wow.
That have been graded. There it is. I'm looking at my database right now.
47,000 players. Luganville was hired in 2005. His first class was 2006, which was Tebow and Matthew Stafford, among others. And Matthew Stafford was unbelievable. I don't think people understand how damn good he was at Georgia. Good grief. And how freaking awesome he's been in the NFL at Detroit and L.A.
If you remember, 2009 was Aaron Murray and Matt Barkley.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those were the two high-profile names in that year. And then quite possibly one of the most disappointing, toughest to rank classes was without question 2010. Without question.
Really?
It was 2010. For whatever reason in that cycle, hardly anybody panned out. We had the most difficult time trying to figure out who the heck are we going to put at number one. And it wasn't one of those classes that you just sat there. I mean, so Ronald Powell, Jackson Jeffcoat. Now Dominic Easley ended up being a great player. Jordan Hicks ended up being a great player. Remember Auburn running back Michael Dyer?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, Robert Woods was in that class. Matt Elam ended up being a first-round draft choice. But there's a ton of guys that just didn't pan out. Marcus Lattimore, though, was in that class. He was a top 25 player.
Damn, you talking about a player. Woo!
Yeah, oh, yeah. But it was the 09, 2010, 2011 classes that shaped Steve Spurrier's successful run there at South Carolina, because in those 3 years, you had Stephon Gilmore, DJ Swearinger, Jadeveon Clowney, Marcus Lattimore, Connor Shaw, and Alshon Jeffrey. That's just some of them. They all signed with South Carolina.
Damn. I don't know who Spurrier had on staff, but he had somebody that was grabbing some dudes. And wow. Connor Shaw was a hell of a football player. He may not have been NFL, but that dude could ball out on a Saturday. Yep. Damn.
Yep. And Steven Garcia was in those 3 years.
Yeah,
too.
He's a crazy man. We've had him on the show. That guy's hilarious. But I mean, he's day to day. Tom Luganville, national college football analyst with ESPN. Can you imagine if Reggie Bush would have come along in let's say you'd have been there for about 4 classes, Luke's. Can you imagine if Reggie Bush would have been like in the 09 class? How crazy that would have been.
Oh my goodness. Well, forget about it. Imagine the cost of doing business if he would have been in the NIL era. Like the NIL era alone.
Oh.
I mean when you think about what's happened to this sport, think about all of the legendary teams, legendary performances, legendary careers that would have not occurred where they did occur at.
Right.
How would you have kept everybody together?
Oh.
How would you have been able to maintain the entire team? You wouldn't have been able to do it.
No.
You would have a history of college football that would be unrecognizable to what we've lived.
No doubt. Tom Luganville on the show started at Georgia Tech at quarterback with ESPN for 20 years. Lugs, I'm sure you did this too. Brad Edwards told me about going out to Southern Cal during Carroll's days, and that Pete would go ones on. They had so much depth, and you can't do this now. They had so much depth. I don't remember if it was like 02, 03, 04, but when they were rolling, as you remember, Luke, he said on Tuesdays, Pete Carroll had so much depth, he could go ones on ones during the damn year. Luke's. Think about that.
Not worried about anybody getting hurt because if somebody does, the next guy just plays.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was the 03, 04, 05 years.
Yeah.
But think about it. That team, as you know it and as we experienced it, would not exist today.
No. We'll never have Carroll at Southern Cal, Urban at Florida/Ohio State, and Nick at Alabama teams again. Or in Kirby right at the very end.
No, exactly. Right. That's exactly right.
Tom Luganville on the Out of Bounds show. All right, let's we could do this for a while, but let's switch gears. Lugs, Mississippi State's a program that's trying to get back to winning. And Braylon Womack was committed to Auburn. Now he's committed to Mississippi State. Yep. We'll see if he hangs in there. But he's a 4 or 5-star kid out of Hartfield Academy. What can you tell me about your evaluation of Braylon Womack?
I think he's an elite level talent that will play right away. We've seen guys like Dijon Lee at Alabama in this last class that had played and started a lot of games for them. Xavier Brown was another one, started as a true freshman for Alabama. This guy's in that category. Cover guy that can just flat out run. He plays offense as well. So, what you choose to do with him, they've probably got a coaching staff playing tug of war right now. But we think he's an elite like that. That is a big pickup for them.
Okay. And that's what they need. Guys that can play, or at least one or two in a class that can.
Well, and it shifts the perspective, right? It forces players to look at them differently.
Right. Okay.
In a more positive light.
All right, let's go with this. And I know you were bouncing around. I watched you on Thursday night. Me and some buddies were at his condo in Starkville, and you had a hell of a game last Thursday, Tulane and Memphis, and two coaches that have just cashed it.
Navy and Memphis.
I'm sorry, Navy and Memphis. I've got a friend, that son is playing on Navy's team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. Jake Norris, who played a ton on Thursday night. So tight end, I think he was number 85. But all right, so Kamario Taylor. State fans are trying to get excited about what could be. Jeff played him all day on Friday. He made some mistakes, but he made some really good plays against a damn good Ole Miss team. And he inserted him in a little bit more down the stretch, and you could see that he's big and talented, and you hope that he'll get more, better going through progressions and more refined from the pocket, but he can make stuff happen when the play breaks down. So as a former quarterback and somebody who's evaluated forever, give me your thoughts on Kamario Taylor, the quarterback, going forward, Luke.
So I think the reason why Jeff Lebby does things like this and did this in particular is you need to make some determinations on whether you think this guy can be your guy long term, right? Do you want to invest in him? How did he respond to certain situations? How did he respond to a mistake? Was he be able to flush it, shake it off, and play the next down without being impacted by it? How did he process? How quickly did he process? Did he get from point A, B to C and do so in a timely manner? Were his mistakes catastrophic? Were his mistakes coachable? Like that sample size of what they did with him, I think was very purposeful because you have to get the quarterback position right. And until you play a guy, you don't really know. I mean,
right.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think Michael Van Buren has a chance to be a really good college quarterback. He was thrust into duty for Mississippi State last year, thrust into duty for LSU this year. He actually has a lot of traits that are similar to Trinidad Chambliss. And so you look at him, you're like, okay, that guy kind of has a chance. Well, now you have a sample size to really dig deep. And I think that's what Jeff Lebby's doing with Kamario Taylor is, could this guy be the guy? Does he have the mental temperament? Does he have the mental toughness? And you don't know those things until you put him through the fire.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he handled it well, considering, and played well down the stretch. I mean, good Lord. I know Arkansas wasn't a good team, but they were down by 17. Shapen got knocked out of the game, Luke's, and he let him down for 2 touchdowns. If you're a true freshman on the road in the SEC, I don't care who it is, that impresses me. You agree?
Exactly. Absolutely. The game is so hard just on its face. Then when you try to think about somebody that doesn't play, that is a freshman, that is right out of high school, and you have to consider all of the things that have to go right around that guy. Right? Whether it's during the week game planning to try and make sure that we really taper down the game plan for a less experienced guy. Right. Then the play calling, then the people around him making plays. And maybe sometimes when you have a young quarterback, you need somebody to make a spectacular play, right? Does he get that? Does he not get that? Like, there are so many variables that are involved in that you just need the stars to align sometimes.
Tom Luginbill on the Out of Bounds Show. I've got a couple of minutes here. Let's hit Brian Hartline for 1 minute, 2 minutes. He just took the South Florida job. He was the OC this year after Chip Kelly left, played in the NFL. Tell me what you know and like about Brian Hartline.
Well, I know he recruits Florida, so he's going to be intimately familiar with the landscape. First of all, he's taken the job at a great time. I mean, that job has so much access to athletes.
I agree.
They're going to have an on-campus stadium within the next 2 years. They have a great bounce back attractiveness, meaning like if a Power 4 guy or something decides to go somewhere else, they are a great bounce back program in the transfer portal. I think the fact that you can get people into school, they've got a pretty darn good for a Group of 5 school. They're up there close to 10 million in NIL. And so there's some resources at play. So this might turn out to be one of those marriages that just is timed right.
Wow. All right. I think it's a hell of a hire. And like you said, the ties to Florida and South Florida to me can be top 2 or 3 G5 program in the country. All right. Dude.
Bo, real quick, just think of this. If what's his name that just took Alex Golesh just takes Auburn.
Yeah.
He ain't taking the Arkansas job. He would have stayed at South Florida.
That's all you need to know right there. Yeah.
Right there.
Boom. Yeah. Hey, have we'll hook back up in a couple of weeks, all right?
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Tom Luginbill on the Out of Bounds Show. ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by Bank Plus. It's more than a name. It's a promise. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Bank Plus, it's more than a name. It's a promise. This is ESPN 105.9 The Zone. And lunch today is brought to you by the Bolognese at Taste Italian Kitchen in the Renaissance. Is the show already over? I thought we had another hour. Damn. My mind's like mush. We'll see you tomorrow.